What if I told you the oldest story in Appalachia didn't begin with a ghost, or a cryptid, or even the first people to call these mountains home? It began nearly 500 million years ago. Because before Appalachia became a place of whispered legends, it was a place shaped by time itself. Long before the roads, the cabins, and the small towns tucked into these hills, the Appalachian Mountains were giants. Nearly 500 million years ago, ancient continents collided, forcing the Earth's crust upward and creating a mountain range that geologists believe may have once rivaled the Himalayas in height. But time has a way of changing everything. For hundreds of millions of years, wind, rain, and ice slowly carved these towering peaks into the rolling mountains we know today. Every ridge, every holler, and every winding valley tells a story written by time itself. Long ago, before the Atlantic Ocean even existed, the Appalachian Mountains were part of the same ancient mountain building systems as the Scottish Highlands, the mountains of Ireland, parts of Norway, and Greenland. When the continents slowly drifted apart, the mountains were separated, but their shared geological history remained. So when people say Appalachia and Scotland are connected, they're talking about a connection that began hundreds of millions of years ago. But the mountains are only part of the story. For thousands of years before European settlers arrived, indigenous peoples lived throughout these mountains. They hunted these forests, built communities, traveled ancient trails, and passed down stories deeply connected to the land. Then, beginning in the 1700s, settlers from Scotland, Ireland, England, and Germany made their homes in these rugged hills. They brought with them ballads, superstitions, ghost stories, and old world folklore. Over generations, those traditions met the stories already rooted in these mountains, helping shape the rich tradition we know as Appalachian folklore. The steep ridges and remote hollers meant many communities remained relatively isolated for generations. Because of that, songs, storytelling, dialects, customs, and folklore endured long after they had faded elsewhere. That's one reason Appalachia became a place where stories were treasured and passed from one generation to the next. Stories about strange lights dancing across the mountains, creatures that shouldn't exist, ghosts who never truly left, warnings about places you should never wander after dark. That's why Appalachia isn't just a mountain range. It's one of America's richest storytelling landscapes. Every mountain seems to hold a legend. Every holler has a warning. Every town has a mystery waiting to be told. And throughout this month, we're going to explore many of those stories together. So until next time, Lore Keepers, stay curious. Because every mountain, every holler, and every town has a story, and some are still being whispered.